The final story in this workshop involves a personal experience where the conclusion did not match up with all the facts. I'm using this last example because this is an actual conversation I had in real life with someone I met on a train. It was around 2011, 2012, and I had just moved out to a rental house in the suburbs, but I still worked in the city. I was taking the train home one evening, and the gentleman next to me was absolutely livid about political correctness, how ridiculous it had become, and he just couldn't stand it anymore. To me, this is a classic example of an intelligent person who likely listened regularly to the news, but did not apply any of the critical thinking steps discussed here. Thus, he had a high risk of being misinformed and emotionally manipulated. As we rode out of the city, he continued complaining about how everyone is becoming too sensitive. What was wrong with the bank saying it would be closed for Thanksgiving? Who would get offended? The turkeys? Also, this is an example where there's no real evidence outside of the man's testimony. The credibility of his statement comes purely from how well it matched my personal experiences with automated answering machines. However, after applying some common sense, it did not seem that political correctness had to be the only explanation. When he finally took a breath, I acknowledged that yes, political correctness might be one reason for how the bank worded the message. Then I asked him how many federal holidays there are in a year. There are at least 11. That's 11 different days the bank will be closed, and each of those days has a different name. 4th of July, President's Day, Christmas Day, etc. The bank could spend the money and take the time to create a separate message for each one of those days and hope they use the right message at the right time so they don't say they're closed for July 4th in December. Or they could create one message saying they're closed for the holiday and use it 11 times. He seemed stunned when he replied, "You mean it doesn't say Thanksgiving because I've got a cheap bank?" We all have cheap banks, sir. It's just faster, easier, and costs less to record it once. I'd like to close by suggesting two 7-day challenges. The first challenge is to help reset your brain. If you truly want to gain a new perspective, then the best first step is to disconnect from everything that's feeding the old perspective. The reality is that while there may be many ways to meaningfully involved in politics, constantly sharing your opinion about the latest outrageous headline isn't one of them. So take a vacation from it and turn it all off. Talk to your family, friends, and neighbors about other subjects. And to reset some of the anger commonly seen in the comments section, commit to saying something nice to or about people, especially those closest to you. The second challenge is for you to invest some time getting your information from other sources. Focus on sources known to provide factual information without much spin or bias. Read or listen to a few things from either side of the middle line and avoid the extreme ends of the scale. You don't have to agree with anyone's analysis, but apply the 5 steps of critical thinking and keep an open mind. At the end of the week, revisit some issues that are most important to you and reevaluate your position. Even if your position hasn't changed, which is totally okay, you hopefully will have a better understanding of why you have that opinion. You will hopefully feel more confident that your position is based on what you think, not what someone else tried to convince you.